Great.
So are you. Yeah, I'm going to mute.
Okay.
You're good to go.
Hey, y'all. Kate the Hardest, live in my heart studio. Oh, the brink of reality, where I use paint, pencils, and ink to bring about the things that I think and the thinks that I think. I turn the things that I think about into new possibilities through my intentions. And you're sitting inside of an intention. Oh, I'm feeling the butterflies right now. You know what I'm talking about? Here's Paula. I'm trying to figure out how she comes in. She's two sticks of butter. Feeling the butterflies is a sign that evolution and transformation is in play. And we are. We're growing today inside of a new intention, ON-aIres. I want to highlight and showcase in this season beings that are being their true nature and the love that they are and overcoming the obstacles to bring into being the intention and the inspiration that was placed upon their heart. And today I have a very dear friend kicking this off with me. It's going to be Chris Oppenheimer of Botany Scientifics. Chris, what a joy just to play with you in this sacred space. We have been friends for more than 12 years.
We have, and thank you for inviting me. It means a lot.
Oh, it's fun to watch us both evolve, right? And that's what this really is all about. It's showcasing that with one's will to do so and be so, we can become all that we intended to be. And it's not only about us, right? It's about our story sharing a bigger opportunity for people to see themselves inside of the experience of facing fears and overcoming them. And oh yeah, you got to pull yourself up out of fears. Oh yes, we will have some pop-ins from my co-hosts, My Joy and Wanda, my magical side stick, who matches all the love that I am and helps direct it because we are all magical beings, being the magic that we are. And when we have focus to direct the magic that we are, great things happen. So, like I like to begin in all places, Chris, you've been on a long journey to get to the now moment of the things that you're committed to bringing into being. And I like to focus on the now. The clock behind me on my shoulder indicates that we're dialing in at every now moment to be where we are. And through our heart conversation today, which will go for about 45 minutes, we'll uncover the journey that got you to where you are now and how that came into being. But right now, if you would kind of tell us, Botany Scientifics, what is it? And here's another question for you as you think about what Botany Scientifics is. Let me slow it down and have you share that. Let me just dial it back a minute because there's a lot in that thought. You're building a brand called Botany Scientifics. What is it?
It's a combination of my experiences, both good and bad, and in the darkest moments of my life, being in a rehab, and the nurse hands me a little bottle and she says, "Take these pills." And I say, "What are they?" And this is after being on street drugs, but it was a struggle for me to be able to be who I am today because I thought the world wouldn't accept me. But it was in those dark moments that I actually found that we needed solutions. We've been led down a road, told that certain things are gateway drugs, and here we are popping pharmaceuticals all day long. And when I went out into the jungles and did ayahuasca, I got present to the fact that everything that was happening in my life was setting me on a journey to be a solution for humanity. And that's where we are. We're in a dark time, and it's time for good to rise up. And even though sometimes I feel like just a little drop in the pond or in the ocean, I know that those can make big waves. And I want to make a difference for humanity because I spent a lot of my life hurting myself and watching other people hurt. And now that I know what was really hurting us all, I want to be a solution. And Botany Scientifics was, botany is the study of plants, scientifics is sciences. And if we're going to trust science, we better start trusting the plants that are right out in nature. And that is my vision, is to bring people natural solutions with plants that we were told that were not good for us.
Chris, your vulnerability to share some of the past that probably doesn't feel so good or things that are highlights of your life, you share an important part of how origin and creation happens. Out of the darkness comes the light. And so thank you for having the courage to have that be a part of your path, because expertientially is what I'm starting to call a word. We come to know something and become an expert in it experientially, right? You can talk about something from a perspective of believing all of the time, but it was your experience of realizing that we were perpetuating a problem. If you're trying to create a solution for someone trying to come off of drugs, why are you giving them more drugs? But
I didn't get it. I spit out my pills. I mean, they were trying to give me antidepressants, and I've never been depressed in my life. I've had bad, dark moments, but I know what put me there, you know? If I've ever experimented on anything in life, I've experimented on myself. And you know what? I look back and I'm glad that I did all the things that I did to my body, good and bad, and all the experiences that I've had, because it allows me to share like I am today. And there's nothing there for me. I've forgiven myself. I've forgiven everybody around me. And I know that the world is a big place and the world is needing solutions. But more than anything, companies and brands that are starting to rise up. I mean, Botany's 4 years old. It's been something that we've been doing. Our team is phenomenal. Like, our hearts are all in the same place. We want to make a difference. And you see all these other companies spend all this money advertising, and they're just throwing money into a problem. I want people to get to know me, get to know my team, get to know our hearts, and understand that the plant that we're putting out into humanity, the hemp plant, is a good plant. In fact, it's even found in biblical writings way back, and only in the 30s was it stripped away from us. And then in the 50s, products that we take every night to help us sleep were invented, and then here we are. And really, I found that it's getting our nutrition right, getting our vitamins and our balance in our life, and eating more healthy and clean. And we look around, I mean, we want to save the world, but sometimes it's just like when an airplane goes down, they say, put your own mask on first before you help another. We've got to put our mask on. We've got to help ourselves. If we don't help ourselves, how can we help another human being? And that is why I started Botany Scientifics. I believe that my story resonates, and you take something that was bad and turn it into something good. Why not have the right person in place? And I believe that everything works for a reason and a purpose and a cause greater than ourselves. And I'm just here to serve. All I want to do.
in service to a greater good, this is the new way. And one of the things that I love that I've come to know about botany, right there, you kind of shared with us. And would you say that that was your place of inspiration when you realized that, wow, I'm inspired to create something more than this? Was that it? Or were there other pieces that helped you go on a path? Here's what I'm getting at. Big companies, you said you're 4 years in, and you have a multitude of products, and there's a step and a process with each one. Nothing comes into being without it first going through a process of evaluation. I'm challenged to see where this lines up. Sorry, I'm learning. I'm in a learning curve. Here we go. So people can see this. But, what was your man and a mouse? Right. And I say that because Disney is a massive empire that's years into and decades into the building. But if you deduce it back, it began with a man and a mouse. He drew it and he started to create from there. What did Botany Scientifics launch with? What was your mouse? You're the man, the founder with a vision to bring about a healthier solution for people wanting to heal their bodies and help their bodies heal themselves with plants. Oh, I love that you're using plants. Oh, I am a plant. I'm a tree. I'm glad you have the stick-to-itiveness. Chris, you can stick to it. And you can. You're sticking with it because it's not been, thank you, Wanda. It's not been an easy road to have a multitude of products with branding. So many steps, right? Can you kind of talk to us about that from your beginning, man and a mouse? Where do you start?
Well, it really, thank you, Kate, because it was a vision, in 2018 when the Farm Bill was passed and hemp became legal in the United States. I'd been in nutrition space for the last 15 years. Prior to that, I was a distributor for the Scott Fetzer Company, but personally mentored by Warren Buffett. I've seen big things in life, and I've seen dark things, and I've seen light things. I've seen it all. And I believe when I turned 50 years old is where I stood up at my 50th birthday party. I was single again for the first time, and I'm still single. And I believe that people need to become peaceful with who they are. And I'm peaceful with who I am, but to go out into the business world, sometimes it's a direct conflict. And even trying to get my team to see the vision and the path, I do feel like Disney many times, because I saw everybody start to open stores and sell CBD. And I'm like, oh gosh, I mean, that's great, but there's got to be a better way. But I went to go work in one of those stores, and I started seeing behind the scenes and what was really going on. And I just kept going home with a heavy heart. And I finally went to my parents and said, look, here's what's going on. I need to make a difference. And that's when the journey began. And, my two boys, there's three of us, we're building this to a level that a lot of people will look at us and go, what are they doing? But from the very inception, from our logo with the cross and the botany and the two green dots, those two green dots are life. And that's what we've got to be in the darkness in life right now, is we've got to be the light. And I wanted a company that was vegan, kosher, gluten-free. I wanted 100% clean product. I'm so tired of companies. I'd like to buy the world up and make it harmony. And then they give us plastic bottles, and now they want to recycle the bottles and make us feel like we're part of the cause, but they were the problem. And it's time for somebody to step up and be a solution. And it's time for us to start paying our dollars to companies and people and causes that really do want to make a difference, that really will take a stand for your family. And then I was going to gas stations, and I got these 2 Tylenol PMs. That was the set off. That was the thing. And over the last 3 years, we've created a phenomenal sleep formula with plants and hemp and CBN. It's just a beautiful formula. But if you had to wake up and go to the ER as a doctor and work, you're present. And that is what you can do with plants. And then I started seeing Tylenol PMs behind every register. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Tylenol has been around for over 50 years and nobody's come up with a 2-pack solution that's natural. I mean, this right here is $4.99 and we're going to ship it to you free right now. Like, this is serious stuff to me. Like, this is 100% plants in a little bag for $4.99, but you can't go get a Tylenol PM with chemicals and put it in your body and you don't even know what it does to you. And I can tell you what every ingredient in this is good for the human body, and you can Google it. And that's the beauty of what me and my team are doing. And I couldn't do it without them. But see, they know I get on my soapbox like this and they get excited just like me, because we all want to make a difference in the world. Just like you, Kate, just like somebody listening right now, we've all been beat up. We know there is a better way. And we've got
That
to step up and
passion.
do it. And that's what Botany Scientifics is. So I get on my soapbox because I'm seeing a lot of people commit suicide. I see a lot of depression. I see a lot of medication. And I feel your pain. And I want to be a solution. And that's who I'm going to be from now on.
Chris, your passion is intoxicating. It is. And it's wonderful. It's fun to realize that a product that I've used and tried and benefited from is part of your origin. So I'm grateful when you say that that's what you started with, the idea that you wanted to create a solution to a product that you didn't know what the chemicals were. One of the things, and this is not a commercial, but I want to kind of talk about the benefits of what I've experienced, since it's relevant, since you wanted to create change and you were willing to do something about it. The effects that I have felt are that I get rest. But unlike other things that I've taken in the past, sometimes if I have to get up in the middle of the night for a bio break, I don't have any problem. My body is not groggy. I get up and I take care of what needs to happen with my body to honor my body. And then what I also love is that I'm able to ease back in naturally again. Somehow, what I experience with it in my very active imagination that always runs and rolls when I try and lay still is that it helps me quiet my body and I feel still in that stillness. And then I feel really rested when I wake up.
Kate, that's the whole intention. I mean, we have a cardiovascular system, we have a skeletal system, we have all the, an endocrine system. We have all these systems in our body, but there's one nobody's talking about. And there's a TEDx on it from a doctor teaching it. But we were born with an endocannabinoid system. We have CB1 and CB2 receptors that are directly related to the plant that is in the product that you're taking, and our body recognizes it. And when our body recognizes something, it knows what to do with it. And the whole point of hemp is to allow the body to get into homeostasis so the body can begin to heal itself. I'm not here to say I can heal anybody. I'm not a doctor, nutritionist, nor do I want to be. I'm just the guy that had a lot of experiences, read a lot of books, went down a lot of rabbit holes, and realized something doesn't make sense. And
Hmm.
it still doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Think about corporate America. There's somebody sitting at their job right now knowing that hemp could help them, but because their employer says that THC, and you're not going to fail a drug test on this, but you can still pick it out. But even if somebody was on THC, if you're an employer, let's just start there. Would you rather have your employee up all night drinking, come in hungover, maybe on some Oxycontin or some antidepressants? Or would you rather than be on a little THC, their body is in homeostasis, they're at their most creative state, and it's a plant that God planted to heal and nourish our bodies? It recognizes our receptors. Why is this not taught in medical school? Why did doctors not know this? Because it's a solution to a big moneymaker. And I want to make the solution affordable for all of humanity so we can begin healing ourselves. Because I trust you more than I trust somebody I've never met with a bunch of degrees. Kate Riley has experience in life. A lot of people just have what they've been taught. And if what you've been taught isn't in the medical books, how are you going to go heal humanity?
This is such a journey, right? Of getting into inspired actions. What you just said, of taking it upon ourselves to be in inspired action, to get in information, the inside, following the inner guidance. What I've just heard you kind of share is you've moved from the inspiration into the intention. You're taking these inspired actions. And what I love is how you've done it with a real sense of consciousness. You were not impressed with some of the ways you saw the product being brought. And you kind of took a stand for three things, Chris, that you put in your branding: soil, plants, and community. Can you kind of talk to us about what your intentions are around that? Because as we come out of the river of woulda, coulda, shouldas and land in the land of intent inside of my magical world of utopia, where millionaires live and dwell, climbing Mount Never Rest too long, you are up to something that is really, again, inspiring. And so, if you would share with us your intentions that kind of came to you around soil, plants, and community.
Well, if you go to our website, botanyscientifics.com, there's a video in there that really shares the real story. But actually, we were testing our first round of products and there were chemicals in it. And long story short, it came from the hay. And it goes back to the little things as a cow pooping. I mean, that's how serious we've got to take our health. And it was at that point, and this was well before the last few years, what's been going on globally with the vaccines and COVID and everything else. Back then, I was pulling myself out. Remember, I'd been in addiction. I'd been in a dark place. How can I keep my life in balance? And I realized how important our soil was. My dogs are going crazy in the background.
I have something to say
How
about what you're saying.
important I realized how important our soil was, because if you have sick soil, you have sick plants. And if you have sick plants, you have sick people. And sick people create a system that is just a never ending money journey. And so soil was very important. Plants became very important to me. The quality of our plants. I mean, think about the foods in the United States. They don't even allow them in most countries around the world. That right there should be an alarm for every human being that we're doing something that is not proper for the human body. And after being an addict, an intravenous drug user with methamphetamines, and knowing that I needed to make a change, that's what it was. My addiction was about becoming who I needed to be for humanity and step up and be big. And it's hard to step up and be big when the world's run by a bunch of money of people that are just following the system, like the one that like to buy the world. That company, when somebody asks, what's my competition? It's companies like that. As we grow, we will have sustainable packaging. We're going to be doing things, but the market's not there yet. They'd rather get us all in an electric car with no place to charge the thing right now. When each one of us could start with asking the companies we're doing better that we're doing business with to do a better job, and start spending money on the companies that are doing the things right from the beginning. It's time for the old to dissipate and the new to come in, so that there can be a change. And just like my team, just like it's taught in a great book, they say 2 pieces of twine can easily be broken, but 3 stranded together becomes twine, and it cannot be broken. That's me and my team. There's 3 of us. We have gifts and talents the other one doesn't have, but we make each other stronger, and the decisions we make are right for not just us, but for the customer, the end user. That's who it's important for. For 4 years, we've lowered our price because I know that this can be affordable for every human being. It's a plant. You know what I'm saying? We've got to start waking up to the solutions. And that's what I want to be. And I don't know if I answered your question,
Well,
but there's a lot there.
focusing on the soil and the plants definitively. And I mean, where you've started to talk about community, and you may have different intentions around it, and you can share that. But I like to highlight what I just kind of heard you say. Well, an idea begins with somebody that has an inspiration and takes inspired action and starts to build from an idea. Because Botany Scientifics was just a thought. You didn't know it was a whole company. You didn't know it was a whole brand that was going to be building community, that was going to invite others to come inside of it, pairing their gifts, not coming in comparing and saying, I'm better than you. This is so much better. You're terrible at that. No, we grow together with each being their piece. Through my journey with you, I've come to know some of your partners, James and Brian, and their skills are dynamically different. And this is what makes teams great. You know, I'd like to share this with all of the listeners now and in the future that listen and pick it up. The piece that you're holding is a vital part. It's the piece that's been placed upon your heart. And bringing something into being is not always easy, but it's so worth it, Chris, right? I mean, because had you not done your part, these other 2 would not have jobs. Not jobs. I mean, we're moving away from jobs. We're all working in co-creation together to create a lifestyle that is the I will. The I apostrophe LL, I will create it through my willingness, through my ability to. How do you pull yourself up out of fear, Chris, when it rears its head? I'm curious. That's a great question, my joy. You're genius. That is a good question, Chris. When fear rears its head and you're in the process of building, because you've already accomplished a lot. I'm sitting here with 3 products at the ready, some capsules, some
The
gummies.
capsules, oh my gosh, every human being should take 2 of those a day. Like, that's the beginning of balancing your body. Let's just start there. My doctor wanted me to take aspirin for my heart, and I've been taking the capsules, and I get the same exact results, but without putting something that's not natural in my body. It's like, where are people, like, where is this? And you know, Kate, and it's not just about Botany Scientifics and my team. There's a lot of companies in this space that are doing the right thing. But what I really believe our brand has is a true story of how it came together from the beginning and really what our long-term intentions are as a company. Because there's got to be somebody that rise up and make a difference. And I don't want to compete with big pharma. They're their own deal. I just want to compete with myself every day and do a better job at whatever we're doing. And my team sees the ugly side of me. You even see the ugly side of me. And the ugly side is Chris just getting intense and passionate and trying to portray his vision, but I can't relay it. I feel like Walt Disney sometimes, but I know it's there, you know.
The
But that's the
creator
grace
does.
that everybody in my life gives me, is they know that my heart is in the right place, and when they get to know me, they know that we're going somewhere. There's no doubt. If you talk to anybody on our team, we're big thinkers. We're big thinkers, and we're in a little, we're a drop in the ocean, but the ocean can be all of ours. And there's enough people in the world if we all just started to create things to make a difference. I mean, find something that's going wrong in the world and find where you went dark. And in there you can find some light and you can spark it and you can all of a sudden go, wow, this is going to be cool. I haven't been this excited or passionate about anything I've ever done in my life. And of course, everybody that knows me knows I get excited about, passionate about whatever I do. But you know what? I've done that. I've followed my bliss, and it led me to where I am today. And I just want to thank you, Kate, because magic, Wanda, the stick that you have, she reminds
Mm.
me of when I was out in the jungle doing ayahuasca. When it was all over, I was ended up with a plant like this. But I got to tell you a story. I was on the first night I did it 2 times. I was on concrete. And I was all bloody knuckled, knees, toes, everything. I was trying to pull the concrete up. And my shaman asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm trying to save the plants. They can't grow with the concrete on top of them. How deep is that? And
Chris,
so
thank you for
he's
your
like,
service.
what?
Thank you for your service. You're serving the plants.
Well, my shaman and his wife and everybody, they were pulling me back because I was tearing all the plants up, but I was trying to make way. They didn't know what was going on up here, but that was my proof. And they told me I needed to get out in the real jungle. And that was the most beautiful experience I ever had. And coming back from that a year ago, that's where the intention of the 2 packs and everything has come from. It's like, okay, I've got to stop looking at the financial side of things in life, and I've just got to keep doing what I know how to do. And the universe will bring whatever I need to be able to do what I need to do. And so far, that's what's happened. And that's the biggest thing I've learned through my entire journey is we've got to let it all go, do what brings you bliss, and the universe, God's got it all figured out. The universe is going to put it all together. We've just got to keep putting ourselves out there and being a stand for something other than ourselves.
You shared so much wisdom in all of that. And I want to kind of dial it back a little bit back further in where you were speaking about pulling things from the imagination from here to there and the challenges of that. I want to honor because of being a creator. All of us are creators. Some of us know this and are taking inspired action to actually be it, which is the be it coin, which I just heard you reference. You're finding ways to work outside of the limitations of financial restrictions because fiat currency was created to do that very thing, to control who can play inside of the game. However, when we step inside of our power and we come together in community, unity, pairing our gifts and our resources, we become a source of love that is very difficult to be disturbed when we stay committed with the willingness to move forward and align, right? So it's so beautiful that you bring that up with the idea that there's ways to be outside of finance. This is something that we're learning, we're co creating. Inside of Utopia, we created this figurative be it coin, which celebrates the beingness. You are the currency, you are the energy, you are an exchangeable, valuable asset, right? And we're figuring it out along the way. But I just heard you reference that you're finding some ways, and this is exciting. It's encouraging. My joy, she had just asked you how you overcome some of your fears when they rear their head. And money is a fear that everybody that's building a business faces. If you could kind of talk about how do you address and pull yourself up when fear is afoot? In her spirit, fear is afoot. How do you do that? How do you sock it to the fears? Because it you did it to bring these here. Look, fears came up. I know it. You don't get a product to market without facing them and squashing them. So, could you share a little bit about that journey on some of your solution willingness to see it through?
Well, first of all, it's not about me. You have to get to a place where you have people in your life and sources that you really trust their intentions. From our facility being kosher to our team, being I consider experts in the field. We watch what's going on, and we I guess if we argue about anything, it's like we would love to be right there competing with them, but I'm sitting in that sphere. It's called fear of loss, right? All these other companies maybe have more money, they got more marketing, they're putting it out there. And I step back after I get out of those conversations and I go, I didn't get this far to get this far. Eventually, it's called attraction marketing. Eventually, somebody, the right ears, the right person, the right at the venue, whatever the case may be, that's how I love life to unfold. It was in my making all the decisions in life that I made my worst decisions. Now I tell myself when I get in those moments, I did not get this far to get this far. I've got to keep going. Like it's like the little engine that could. You know what I'm saying? It's like I got this far. I got this far. I could go a little further. I go a little further. It's like, and that's how you win in life. And people see it. There's a difference between desperation and creativity. A lot of people get desperate and they think they're being creative in that moment, trying to make things happen. There's nothing creative there. I have to get back to a source of creating. When I get to create, it's a beautiful thing. And Kate, I want to go into community real quick because you brought it up. But
Yeah.
community is very important to me. And what I mean by community is, I've held a lot of titles in my life. I can give you three right off the bat: gay, straight, and bi. I've been all three. You know what I'm saying? And I say that laughingly and fun because I'm cool with who I am. If somebody else has a problem with me, that's their deal now. That used to really affect me. And that, Kate, you were a big part of that shift in my life. About 15 years ago, you and some of your friends were there when I was trying to finally make the right decision so I could be who I am. And it's been in that last decade that I've really been free. But what is community to me? See, because I didn't feel like I ever fit into any community. And there's a lot of people like that. So, what is community for Botany Scientifics? It's everybody putting down whatever they have and we come together and we get back to the root of it all. Botany Scientifics, on every one of our products, it says, is a community of family and friends that have come together to create plant-based solutions to connect humanity back to our roots. That's what I want to do. And even
Oh,
though
yeah.
everybody has their own community, the community is unity, like you said, and that is humanity. And the only way we're going to get there is to be able to be a space to know that everybody is welcome, not just certain people. I want to know about your community just as much as I want to know about your community, because if I know about your community, I can support you with my company and our brand the best ways possible. But if I'm trying to cram an agenda down somebody's throat, we're never going to get to a place of unity. So that's what community is for me.
It's people supporting one another, right?
It
And
is.
working and being respectful. One of the things that I just heard you kind of articulate, getting us back to our roots, and Wanda loves that every time you talk about roots. The but the cohabitation and the need for plants and humans to live together in the very simple exchange of life source, carbon dioxide that we emit because we're complete with the oxygen that we've intaken that plants produce. And they are our partners on this planet. And so coming together in alignment with them in these new ways, void of laced chemicals that have been put into them for whatever reasons they are. I love the idea that you offered up that every being should be on the capsules. And what I'd like to offer up as a willing offer from ON-aIres is that those that are willing to send me an email at k8 at theloveuse.com, you'll go into a drawing, very inspiring, spelled awing, AWE exclamation point, and you'll be a winner. I'm going to send a winner one bottle of the capsules to get started because it's fun, y'all, to play games in life and to try new things and learn and take a chance. You might be the winner. Set the intention to be a winner. There's great power in setting intentions. We've already seen that. Chris, one of the other things that I just love too that you were doing about when we were talking about your fears and your willingness to keep going, and it made me kind of think of Will I Am, the expression train of thought and feeling, who's of course always right at hand for me because Will I Am expression train of thought and feeling. Right? Choose, passion, infusion, going, pausing, stopping, whatever your train of thought is. If you're in a fearful thought, that's a time to pause the train and get on a different track and a different train of thought. But if you are in your bliss and you know where you're headed, it is wonderful to be on that expression train, going as fast as you can, moving in the direction of your dreams. Choose is another funny play of words because in the creative process, you balance building your passion and continually finding and fueling your inspiration by your living inside of the experiences, and then applying the action steps, right? Applying the action steps. Am I blocking up a little bit? I feel like I am.
No, you're good.
Is the Wi-Fi a little wonky? It's good? Okay, good. That I think that there is this balance. How do you continually create the new products and balance the inspired action steps that have to be taken to follow through and see through what is already in place? Evolution. How do you balance that?
Well, I don't balance it because it's never seems balanced. You know what I'm saying? What I've got, like, there's 3 products right now. I are in my head, my team's head. We know we want to do them, and we can't wait to do them. But one of the biggest things that I learned many years ago is sometimes we got to slow down to speed up. And I've seen a lot of companies throw a lot of money away, making the wrong choices, trying to just get a sell. I'm not trying to get a sell. I'm trying to give humanity a solution so they understand and respect this plant the way that I do. See, because I've seen the good side of the plant. Even though I was told it was the bad side, it was in rehab that I learned I was going to go from street to pharmaceutical. But I knew that I needed to get on a healthier train of living myself. Choose. I needed to choose better things to put into my body. And once I began doing that, it just became a kind of a snowball effect as I start to see things come my way. Nah, that's not for me. That's not for me. Because you know your body now. You're in tune with who you are, and you know that energy comes from plants that are living. It doesn't come from pressed pills that are chemicals or synthetically made to represent something in our body. And then we wonder why the synapses and all of the triggers in our mind, and people end up all over the place. We do have a mental health issue, and we need to get the body into homeostasis so that it can relax and begin to heal itself. And so, Kate, I will totally support you on that capsule, sending you the email. And if you want to give 1 or 2 away or 3, I don't care, because here's what I know. When people try something new, a new way, they start to see differences in their lives, and they go, well, that wasn't what I was told or what I was thinking. Like, did you get high? Did you get loopy? Did you fall out of your bed, Kate? No. And when you woke up, you felt rested and you're ready to go. Like, that's how we're supposed to feel. If your medication isn't making you feel like that, then work with a doctor and let's get you on the road to pathway to working with the doctor and weaning yourself off some of that stuff and see a difference. And that's what we've got to get to is people helping people. It's not the
So
degrees, it's
awesome.
not the education, it's experiences. And when we have people we trust and they share their experiences, it opens a gateway and a door for us to be able to follow our own bliss. Because how many people do things because people say, and they go against that internal feeling. You know when you're making the wrong decision. We all do. And we know
How
when
do
we
you
have to
know
keep
that?
making the
How do
right
you
one.
know that? I think you just
How,
raised a great point because you were talking about you trust your body and you trust you get to know yourself. You just raised a really good point. You know when something's not out and something's not right. Sometimes people don't realize that there is something called biofeedback. There's many different people on their journey of self-awareness. And one of the things that really helped me start to make better choices was to be able to intuit my biofeedback that comes in. You know, my very dear friend Elsa Dillon, she taught me something about the spleen. The spleen is a heart, it's part of your stomach, but it was actually originally known as the heart. And it was why you have a gut check. I do get a gut check. I have hair that stands up on the back of my neck. I have fun little goosely pimples that pop up when something is for me. Like I get little angel bumps, right? That you, what are some of yours that guide
oh,
you?
my every hair on my arm stands up. Like it happens, but after you've had enough experiences, you really just got to start honoring your higher self. And my higher self knows what my lower self looks like. You know what I'm saying? And we only know what our lower self looks like as if we've had experiences. And you know, and this is what I want to share with everybody that may be listening to this. It doesn't matter where you are, what you've experimented with, what you've gone through, what addiction, whatever the case may be. Gambling, overeat. I mean, there's a myriad of things that it could be. The
Right?
most important thing we've got to do is we've got to be able to really take a good hard look in the mirror and go, you know what? I know what's right and wrong. Do I trust myself? And the minute I just got to every hair's, the minute you can say, I trust myself and there's nothing else in the back of your head, well, maybe I could slide off and go do this, you know? No, trusting yourself is trusting yourself to know what you know, but most importantly, know what you do not know and be willing to make that shift whenever you need to learn something new.
Willingness.
But willingness and trusting yourself.
This I have found in my journey of creation. And when I get afraid and something feels way too big for myself, I dial it back and I stop futuring too far out because that's why I said I bring it back to the now moment. Right now, what is happening to me? Am I dying? Am I having a catastrophe? Oh my gosh. The answer is always no, right? But when we awfulize and catastrophize, we become that point of attraction for more of those thoughts to keep coming to us. And being in that state generates more of that state. I've come to really realize this journey of life is all about coming into alignment and being able to feel our emotions and then looking at them and processing them, not ignoring them, not swifting them up under the rug and saying, oh, I'm going to come over above that. No, but really looking at, I'm feeling very uncomfortable in having to stretch this far. What am I feeling uncomfortable about? I'm out of alignment with my skill set. Okay. I'm going to be honest about my skill set and not overcommit that inside of an audience of people who are counting on me to do something. I'm going to be gentle with myself, but it doesn't mean if something's curious to me and exciting, even though I don't know how to do it, I'm going to learn. I'm going to be going through a process. I've taught myself how to do digital art this year. I love how it's enhanced my experience. It's so playful and fun. But at first it was very scary to me. And I was like, I don't have time to figure this out. That seems silly in the bigger picture. But we're always evolving to the next highest version of ourselves. It stretches us to the next highest version of ourselves. You could have stopped with the one part you brought into being and said, that was really hard. I don't really know that I want to keep going. But you have somehow found the willingness to keep going. Where do you see yourself going and growing with Botany Scientific right now, not having to future too far out? What are some of your next growth goals of what you want to create right now?
Well, I already started, and it's on my personal platforms, but I've watched enough to know that I want in the future, I want people that are doing business with the company to be comfortable with who's running the company and who's building the company and who the visionary is. Are they good people? Are they doing the right things? Have they been through it? Yeah, could I judge them for what they did? Okay, but they made it through it. They didn't, they didn't do that, I mean, we've got people that we vote for that have worse records than I do. I've never been to prison or jail, thankfully, but it's because I always was aware of my surroundings and I always pulled myself out of situations that got a little freaky. But I've been in some of the worst places you could ever imagine finding a human being, and I was there. And you know what? It was there that I learned compassion and humility and grace and knowing that people are just hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I was in dark places, I had great conversations with other people in dark places. And I got to
Oh,
learn their
there are a lot of
experience.
great people in dark
Yeah,
places that are there because of other agendas, Chris. So it's
yeah.
we as a
And,
community
and
can't
so
even
you
judge
learn that.
someone. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was going to say we can't even judge someone if they have been accused of a crime or something, because in many cases there are people falsely placed in spaces or
Well, and I
other
love those
agendas.
people. I love those people because those are the ones with the best stories. It's the ones that are all prim and proper that act like everything's great. Those are the ones that are behind doors doing weird stuff to weird people. You know what I'm saying? Like things that they shouldn't be doing that are very unlawful. So we've got to really hone it in and just look at ourselves and go, you know what? It's time for me. This is where I am. It's time for me to share my story with who I am, not charge money, not try to make, I just want to be, I just, if one person can hear one thing that I say and it saves their life, then I've done my job as a human being. And that's all I want to do. And I believe the reason why I lived, and then I
So
died in Houston, Texas.
speaking and doing where you're sharing your story is kind of where I heard you just say that's one of your next objectives with Botany Scientific and
Yeah, I
growing.
want to share our story and our team. Brian and James, we're ready to share who we are, what we're about, our processes, why we do what we do. And and when people catch on that this is the way to build a company moving forward, they're going to realize that there's a shift in society. We've been blatantly led down wrong paths, and there's enough people standing now that want to do what's right. And I just commend everybody out there doing what's right in a time when it is so easy to do what is wrong. I commend
Oh, it's
everybody
so
doing
easy. It's so easy to build a business, right?
it's easy.
Right? I
No,
know.
it takes
That's why
passion
I'm
and a lot of
laughing.
commitment and a
It,
lot of tears and a lot of sweat. But no, there's no, nothing is easy in life, but things can be simple when you follow your bliss.
so one of the thank you for that. And that really is the essence of finding your joy. You know, joy is always hiding in plain sight and it's masked inside of personal development, right? And so there's nothing more joyful than sitting around after you've created something because we're here to create. However, in the process where it is daunting and exhausting and stretching and demanding the very best that is within us, that is the purpose of it, right? life is expansive. We are powerful creators that know no limits. That's what will I on. If we look at the word willionaires, I'd like to just kind of look at the syntax of that, because will has I will inside of the word. So it's like a double will, I will, I will, I will. It's a reinforcer of I will. And I on. I'm turned on, fully activated, and shining brightly with the light that I am, because my inner vision is playing out. Guys, this is the essence of life. It's meant to be played. We're never meant for life to be easy. Easy is not helping us become more aware of who we are and how we relate to others and our planet. And ultimately, it comes back to it each being variances of love. That's it. The fears that we face are overcome by the love that we are. But we must move through that process. And our willingness to be and do so is the variable. And all these different variables, oh, there's another word, Chris, just this week, by being in a process of playing with words, because that's my business, to play with the words that are the codes, because we create our realities with our words. And I was thinking about the very word variable and all the variables that get thrown at us that are creating our lives. I just started respelling it. I just made it 2 words and I said, we're very able, regardless of the variables that are thrown at us. It doesn't matter. Throw this, throw that, through this challenge, this obstacle. We're just going to be jump. We're gymnasts. We're growing. We're shifting. We're learning. And I love that we are very able. I'm thankful that you said, I will, because it matters to so many that are still inside of the space, relying upon the only solutions that were available to take away pains that their bodies were having. So we can agree that Western medicine has a place.
It
But it's
does.
not sustainable. It's not a lifestyle. Your dad, who I love dearly, when I first met him, had just come off of, I think, 16 medications. How many?
Hmm. Yeah, he
One
was on 16
caused the
medic.
next one to be required, to be required, to be required. And so that journey is a long one, going in a degenerative way. The process that you're on, that's a long journey, and that I'm on, and we're holding and locking arms together and saying, let's go down this path together and align our gifts and our talents and share our voices. This is a beautiful way to be in the world, each being our own piece, and then putting them together to create something more. One whole piece going with another whole piece. The other doesn't need the other. It stands alone. But when we put them together, it's the SUM thing more that neither of us could see before because we didn't know. The more. Humanity can do this. This is my desire, my intention, for us to all be the creators that we are and start revaluing that creative part of our hearts, the art in our heart in this golden heart age, the treasure in our chest. You are a treasure hunter, Chris. You are mining the treasure out of your heart every day, and it matters to so many people. And, I love that you matched me. And this is a great example, too, to everybody. When we step up and we do something good, others will be inspired. It's inspiring to watch someone do something good. And I said, I would like to bless someone to capsules because Chris said everybody should have them. And then he said, oh, I'll match you. What one great thing are you willing to do today that you could inspire another to match you? That's a good prompt. Chris, I accept your willingness to do that. And we will take emails to K, the number 8, at the love use, which is EWES. It all begins with you.
But
And
that's
you
the letter K, the number 8, right?
That's
Kate.
correct.
K,
I'll put it
8.
in the notes as well after the show. And so I'll hold the contest open until Thursday. On Thursday, I'll do a drawing and I'll alert the winner via email that they have won. And actually, we're going to do, can I be so bold as to say, you said 2 or 3? Could I go with the 3 and we'll award 3 winners?
Absolutely. I like the number 3. It's strength.
I
So
do
yeah.
too. It's Trinity.
And
It's
Kate, next
creation.
time I want to come in your studio and I want the props. This reminds me of a kid when I first. This reminds me when I used to watch Sesame Street when I was a kid, back when it was clean and they did the right thing. I think we could do this as adults and really have some fun. And thank you for
What do
creating
you
this.
think we're
I
doing?
want to be in your
Woohoo!
studio though. But tell Wanda thank
I love
you.
that. Okay, so Chris, you bring up a really beautiful thing, and that is, as we're in these closing moments, I love you so much, and you are welcome in my heart studio all of the time.
I
But
want to
this
do it. I'm coming.
this is a PLAYCE that is the sum total of all of the parts of me being a kid growing up in the 70s. I watched Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, Willy
Me
Wonka and the
too.
Chocolate Factory, all of these things that play with the pure imagination. And it's so beautiful to see all of the parts culminating together inside of this utopic world that is the sum total of all of the parts, all being inside of this crazy heart brain that I call myself. And it's so fun. I love being in this space. But this is also what I call the imagination. It is the imagination. We all know what that is. The imagination is that which the willionaire chooses to see in their inner vision and match it by bringing it from inside of themselves into the outside realm. If you had only had these gummies in your imagination and knew that they could be, I wouldn't be holding them in my hand. There were a lot of action steps, a lot of fear overcome, a lot of willingness to bring it despite the challenges because you faced many. I know that because I've brought things into being and you were told it couldn't be. But you chose to be the proof. And that is the difference between a millionaire that has no limits to what they can achieve. You're not working for millions, billions, trillions. You're not setting the limits of how much you can earn for that which you're willing to be. You're letting the universe decide that because it doesn't only come in fiat currency. It comes in exchange of resources, gifts. Our wealth, WELLTH, knows no limits. Be a millionaire. Follow your heart. Chris and I are here just to share that we're willing. We hope that we've inspired you today. We love you and we're so curious and can hardly wait to see what's placed on your heart that you can't stop thinking about, that you want to bring about because our world needs it or it wouldn't be there. Chris, I love you so much. You're a powerful source and
I
force.
love you right back, Kate. You're amazing. Have an amazingly creative day. I love you.
I love you too. We'll say ciao for now. Ciao for now. Love you, Chris. Mind yourself up out of here and suck it into our
Bye.
avatar. We think you're wonderful.